Hey guys, King of Charmander's here. Alright, so you're probably wondering why the heck is King of Charmander's doing a judge, jury, and analysis on Altaria when he's already done like a few analysis with it. Well, because Altaria Community Day is coming out, it's actually the best budget pick for the Retro Cup because it's just that freaking good. So you definitely want to consider either building an Altaria or getting a good or actually getting a good Altaria for Retro Cup as well as Great League. As you do know, Altaria will be getting Moonblast as an exclusive move. With Moonblast, you are able to do a few things. It gives you more dominant matchups against Dark types. But since in the Retro Cup, Dark types are banned, is Moonblast still worth running? Absolutely. With Moonblast, you are still able to... Well, with Moonblast, you can actually cover fighting types. And with Moonblast, if you do get the debuff, -1 stage attack is a big deal. As you see here, Altaria is a beast because it's super bulky. This bird is really thick. It's got a really big butt. If you stare at, well, it actually has clouds for like wings, but yeah, it's a big blue chicken thing that actually has a really sweet shiny. It's solid gold. So if you want, again, Altaria Swablu Community coming pretty soon. It's a dragon and flying type, and because of its combination of stats plus its unique typing, and it just has Dragon Breath. Yes, because it has Dragon Breath, it literally makes it one of the most powerful Great League mons of all time. If you notice, it was part of one of the super meta teams way back in Season 1, and for long-term use, it's still been dominant to this day. It was dominant in the Holiday Cup, it was dominant in the Great League Remix, and it's dominant in the in the Great League Remix, and now for the Retro Cup. You see the pattern here? This thing's really good, and you should probably invest in one. The good thing about it, and the reason why I'm trying to sell it so much, is it's only 10k dust for a second move. Yes, it's 400 candy, but before you roast me about being 400 candy evolve, you know, there's something, like I said, there's Community Day. And when Community Day, you're gonna get way more than 400 candy. If you do try, even if you, like, leave a Gacha or Go Plus on, you're gonna get a lot of candy for Altaria. But definitely worth looking into. Its weaknesses are, of course, other dragon types. Because fairy types are banned, Altaria is very safe in this cup. However, ice types do run around, so you might want to be careful of that. So if you're going to build a team in Altaria, you need coverage around it. And, of course, it's weak against rock types, so things like... So, because it's weak against rocks, then things like Rock Slide from Machamp, etc., it's going to hurt a lot. However, the reason why it's so good is because, as you see, its resistance is grass, ground, bug, fighting, fire, and water. There's a lot of things in the Retro Cup you resist because of those typings. So you do resist the counter users. You do resist grass, things like grass knot, frenzy plant, etc. Ground type moves, like if someone tries to land an earthquake on you, fire, water, etc. It's really freaking good. And like I said, it is technically the best budget pick overall. So if you don't have a good one, I do recommend you consider shelling out the resources to build a good Altaria. Because like I said, it will have long-term use outside of the Retro Cup. Alright, as I always say, as we do the analysis for the giant flying turkey with that cloud turkey thingy, please consider contributing at peatboat.com. Anyways, as you see here, if we go to the Retro Cup rankings, here is the mighty burb I was talking about. Number 9 in the top 10 is Altaria. You're obviously going to want to use Moonblast instead of Dragon Pulse, but it won't be... Yeah, just use Moonblast instead of Dragon Pulse. But as you see here, it's still really freaking good. A lot of these matchups you can flip if you do manage to get the debuff with Moonblast, or you could possibly take out things like Medicham, etc. If you... Well, you could just take them out just straight Sky Attack. But as you see here, Altaria is an absolute beast. In the lead and in the closer, it is very strong. It is able to do heavy damage with Dragon Breath and can possibly sweep your opponent if you're able to do enough damage or if you're able to leave shields down. Not so good as a switch simply because of the fact that if your opponent does have an Ice-type Pokemon, they switch into you, they can likely farm you down. So, a good example is like Obamaso, because Obamaso isn't banned. So, if you safe switch into Altaria, they safe switch into Obamaso, you're kind of screwed. But the reason why it's so good is because it's bulky, it's agile, it's very bulky. So, the bulk makes it in fast move pressure because of Dragon Breath. And it has, because of that, it's very defensive. The problem is it's volatile, which means it's There's a lot of things that can kill Altaria, well, mainly just ice types, to be honest with you, but still ice damage, it puts you in danger, so that's why you lose against things like Drifblim, etc. This is why most of everything you lose against in the back are literally ice types, as you see here. Shadow Champ can drop rocks on you. That's why it can KO you. If a Shadow Champ does get rock slide on you, you die. And Cresselia can Moonblast its way to victory. Best used in the lead, as you see here, Altaria ranks at number 11, being able to take out some of the Psychic archetype, as well as giving Alolan Marowak a hard time. Now, the key thing about this is that you can beat Drifblim in the 2 shields. Drifblim does have Icy Wind, so it kind of sucks, but you can beat some ice or some Pokemon that have Ice-type attacks in the 2 shield. As you see here, not so good as a Switch. It's going to take a minute before we get over here. In the Switch, we actually have... Oh my gosh, I have to... there it is. It's number 59. So, again, not so great in a Switch simply because of these. Abomasnow, Frostless, Wishcash, Lapras, basically anything's gonna send you in this Ice Age. You ever watch the movie Titanic? If you're not old enough to, then don't watch it. It's actually not that great compared to a lot of movies nowadays, but it's an instant classic and made a whole lot of money, and it was really good. And what happened was a boat hit an iceberg. If you ever seen Altaria get hit by any ice attack, mainly Blizzard, it dies no matter what range it is. It's gonna get one shot, it's gonna get deleted. As a closer, Altaria is its second best position, as you see here, very able to dominate the fighters just because you're able to sky attack them to death, and it also does very well against, like I said, the Psychic archetype as well as the Elemental archetype in Fire, Electric, Grass, and Water, and that's why it does so well against Alolan Marowak. So the thing about Altaria is with Rock Slide, you can get, like, because it's weak to rocks, things like Deoxys Defense or Shadow Champ can take you out if they can Rock Slide at you at a certain range. So, best to lead with it and then just pivot around with it. But if you do have shields with Altaria, plus energy, or even just shields in general, Altaria Dragon Breath damage and Sky Attack / Moonblast will do very well for you in the Retro Cup. Alright, so here we have the People.com Matrix. This is probably the area you skip to because this is where all the, like, Super Analyst happens. But anyways, as you see here, I got Altaria with Moonblast. I have all the IBs here. I have a Defense Weight one. I have a rank... This is just default. Rank 1. Defense weight, and then this one is an attack weight. There's no real reason for you to have an attack weight one. This is just for science, but in all honesty, just get a one that's as high as rank as you can. You don't want to dabble too much unless you're going to get the Altaria mirror, which isn't bound to happen too much. Well, it can happen, but like, there's no reason for you to have an attack weight Altaria, for the most part. Here's a 2 shield. We're going to run it. There's a Retro Cup meta to the right. As you see here, a high rank Altaria will beat, well, it just really depends. The higher rank Altaria will beat the other Altaria in the mirror. So, the way to guarantee that you beat Altaria in the mirror is let them fire first and get a Dragon Breath through. If you can get a Dragon Breath through their first charge move, you'll be ahead of Dragon Breath on the second Sky Attack. So, you will automatically take back, so you will be able to take back Switch. Or you'll be able to automatically win that matchup. Again, if you get the Altaria mirror, let them fire first, get a Dragon Breath through. You should theoretically get it unless you lost a turn. And then you could just straight Sky Attack from there. You should be able to get to Sky Attack before your opponent does, and then you should be able to just win the mirror. That's how you guarantee the mirror. If for some odd reason that Dragon Breath does not come through when they fire, well, good luck. Just because they'll be ahead of Dragon Breath. Or that's happened to me before, basically. As you see here, you just want the one as high ranking as you can. You beat Cresselia, you can beat Deoxys Defense, you beat Shadow Dragonair, you can also beat Drifblim, so rank 1 kind of matters a little bit. The reason why you beat Drifblim here in the 2 shield is because you barely watch, it's super close. Your Altaria will live with 1 HP, so this 2 shield scenario is extremely close. So I wouldn't bank on it. Again, very, very close. You're going to flat out lose to Frostless, so if you do see any ice types in the lead like Frostless, then make sure you just swap out. You do beat Galvantula, however, and you also beat Hypno. You will lose against Shadow Hypno if it has Ice Punch. So if Hypno or Shadow Hypno has Ice Punch, you're in trouble. Just put that out there. Also, Jelson will beat you if it has Ice Beam. So things that do have Ice type attacks, you 9 times out of 10 will lose against it. Unless it's like Drifblim where it's a super close matchup. You lose against Lapras, you can beat Licky Licky. If you have, I wouldn't really recommend I wouldn't bank on seeing Licky Licky. You're probably going to see more Lickitung XLs more than anything. You do beat Shadow Champ, which you possibly can see a lot in Retro Cup just because it's the most powerful fighter. Also, Cross Chop and Rock Slide is overpowered. Well, it's not really overpowered. Shadow damage plus a complementing Machamp's ridiculous attack equals... It hurts a lot if it hits you. You can lose against Medicham in the 2 shield scenario. Medicham can beat you if it has Ice Punch. You will also lose against Mew just because of Ice Beam being able to land. Regirock, Celio, and Witchcash. You beat Witchcash in the 2 shield as long as you don't get hit by a Blizzard. So if you do see Daddy Cash it is, I believe, 9 mud shots to get to a blizzard. Yeah, because it's 7,500, so it's 9 mud shots. 9 times 9 is 81. So just pray. If you call the bait, you're fine. But if you get hit by, for example, yeah, here's what happens. So if we go into sandbox mode, you do call the bait, and then you shield this one. As long as you shield 1 blizzard, you're fine. So as long as you call 1 mud bomb, then you can win straight sky attack. Remember that. So just don't get hit by a blizzard. That's pretty much it. Don't get hit by a blizzard, and you can win the 2 shield. That's basically it. So you're gonna have to be a little ballsy on this one, but it's worth it. So as you see here, 2 shield scenario, very, very strong. Altaria is pretty, and it's also pretty easy to use. See, Ice type run. See, no Ice type, you probably have a good matchup against it. The main cell of Altaria, it beats Lickitung XL in the 2 shield. So you could put it in the back, but as you see here, Lickitung XL doesn't have a dominant matchup against Altaria, as you see here. So Altaria does beat Lickitung XL in the 2 shield. So if your opponent tries to switch a Lickitung into you, you can throw your Altaria in there and just win straight sky attack. So keep that in mind. In the 1 shield, things get a little better. As you see here, having a high attack weight one / the other stops, they really don't matter. Just get the one as high ranking as you can. That's it, instead of making your brain hurt. As you see here in the 1 shield, a attack weight, well, it just really depends. Like I said, guarantee that Dragon Breath. If you're in the 1 shield against Altaria, whichever one has a higher attack, if you're in even energy, or whichever one has energy advantage, is likely going to win that matchup. A high attack Altaria can beat Cresselia in the 1 shield, though, but I still think higher rank is much better. Just because the 2 shield scenario, most of the time you will lead with it, or you'll put it in the closer, so. Another justification is a high rank, a high attack Altaria will lose against Dripplum, just because those icy winds will chunk a whole lot more than you want them to. And in the 1 shield, you lose again, well, in the 1 shield, anything with Ice Punch, etc. does give you a hard time, or Ice type attacks. It's also much harder to do it in the 1 shield than the 2, because you can't double shield your way to victory. You still be Licky. In the 1 shield, you will lose against Lickitung, so keep that in mind. However, your biggest sell is that you beat Alolan Marowak and Medicham, so you beat a lot of the elemental users. But of course, anything that's with ice type attacks or rock will likely beat you, just because ice type damage is double super effective, and that's pretty it. Altaria is pretty generic. If you see ice type, you run, like I said, in 2 shield. Even in the 1 shield, not too much of a difference. Even though you flip Altaria and Cresselia, this is in the 1 shield, it's a very dicey, so I wouldn't bank on it. In the zeros, as you see here, in the no shield is its 2nd best position for Altaria. Again, whichever Altaria has the higher attack, energy lead, etc., or if it has more chip damage or whatnot, it will likely win. So don't bank on the mirror match. The only way you can guarantee the mirror match is in the 2 shield, where if you get a Dragon Breath through, you can take back, so you can guarantee that match. You do beat Shadow Dragonair in the closer. You will get die to ice types as well as anything you're weak to. A good general synopsis with Altaria is anything that is ice, rock, or has an ice or rock type move is probably going to kill you in the zeros. So things like Lapras, Jellicent with Ice Beam, Frostless, Dripplum's Icy Wind will take you out. So just keep that in mind. In the zeros, you do take out the elemental types, still really hard, as well as the fighting types. So very, very good against the fighting and elemental meta. With shield advantage, it's great. Altaria with a shield is a freaking destroyer. It's a beast. It'll beat a lot of things mainly it's the ice archetype that will kill you. So as you see here, things like Abomasnow, Dugong, Lapras, Mantine, Regirock, Celio, etc. That's what will kill you. The attack weight, as you see here, it is very hard to get this situation where you're in the 1 to 0s and then you have an attack weight Altaria. So there is some merit. As you see here, you're able to flip 3 matchups, or 4 actually with the Jellicent in the 1 to 0s, but I wouldn't bank on this happening, as you see here. You can have an attack weight one, but honestly, I really think you should just get the high rank one. High rank one is better, unless you want the high attack to guarantee wins in the CMP tie against Altaria. So the 2 to shields, as you see here, most of the time you will just die to ice Pokemon. You lose against Dugong, you will also lose against Celio. An attack weight Altaria can bully its way through the 2 shields, but generally Altaria with 2 shields is just an absolute destroyer. But as you see here, with default IVs, most of the time in the 2 to 0s, you'll beat most of them except for, again, Dugong and Celio. If you have shield advantage, which you're in the 2 to 1s, as you see here, attack weight does matter. So attack weight matters if you have shield advantage and if you're in the 1 shield. In the 2 shield, you want a high rank one. However, because it's so hard to find an attack weight one, and it's just too much of an investment, I really don't prefer you have an attack weight one. Just get the highest rank you possibly can, like I mentioned. As you see here, with shield advantage, you are able to beat Cresselia. If you have an attack weight Altaria, you cannot beat it. with shield advantage. You lose outright to Lapras. You could also lose to Mantine. You could beat Mantine if it has Ice Beam, but this is really dangerous. But as you see in the 2-to-1s, you're able to take out a lot of things, mainly not the ice type. So if it's ice, in most scenarios, you're probably going to die, as I mentioned before. However, that's not to say Altaria is extremely powerful. Otherwise, you beat a whole lot of archetypes, etc. And with shield advantage, as you see, you can win against Mew, Regirock, Shadow Champ, or Wishcast. There's a lot of things you can beat with shield advantage. So Altaria with shield is really good. Altaria's it's just really freaking good. It really deserves its place as one of the top 10 and number 9 overall in the Retro Cup. Alright, I've already done a few videos on team building with Altaria. It's in my budget teams, my top 5 budget teams. So if you haven't seen that video yet on my channel, definitely on there. And if you, I'm not going to go too in-depth into it. For Altaria just basically messes with so many, with so many things. You can go the more common route, which is Frostless, as you see here. Cores well with Frostless. If you put Frostless and say you just put, Medicham in the back, watch, it's just automatic, poof. Watch that rating go up. Bang. You could also pair Frostless. Altaria and DD is very strong. So if you have Deoxys defense, Altaria and Deoxys defense is also very strong for... Oh, wait, hold on. That's not... Whoops. Hold on. Whoops. Okay, I forgot to change the Retro Cup. Nobody saw that. You saw it. So I'll go back to it. But Altaria Deoxys defense, if you put in the Retro Cup together, as you see here, this core does very well. Very good rating. Altaria with Frostless does really well as well. So as you see here, there's a lot of things you could do with Altaria. You can even leave Altaria in the back. Altaria is very strong in the closer, as I mentioned before, so if you put Altaria in the back as a closer, it does really well. For example, let's say you want to lead with Lickitung XL, and then you put Frostless as your safe switch, and then just put Altaria in the back. This is a very high rating, but as you see, Altaria just cores well with so many things. Altaria, Frostless, as you see here, a super baller team, mega baller team, does very well. Look, well, that's Lickitung and Frostless. If you even put, if you put Snorlax in this thing, you could even get as well as... Still good. Still good. So, as you see, Altaria does very well with a whole lot of things. So, it's really up to you. Just put your team in here and then run with it. If you have any questions, you can put them in the comments. But Altaria, if you don't have anything really good for the Retro Cup, this, like I said, Altaria is the best budget pick for the Retro Cup. And it cores well with so many teams that you could, it's super meta. So, it's going to do really good. So, again, not going to go super in-depth in Team Builder. Either put in the lead or put in the closer. Against most combinations, it will do very well for you in the Retro Cup. And that's all! I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Again, this one was pretty quick, but Altaria, I've already done several budget videos, but I really want to do an individualized approach, just in case you had a question about IVs, etc. As you saw here, just get a high rank one. There's no reason to have an attack weight Altaria, etc. If you do get the mirror with Altaria, just let them fire first, get a Dragon Breath through, and that should guarantee you the mirror. As long as everything goes well. If you lose a turn at the beginning because of Go Battle Lag, then that plan won't work, and then you're going to have to be a little fancy. But other than that, either way, whichever Altaria, if you do get the mirror, you could do the method that I mentioned. Otherwise, the Altaria with higher attack will generally win CMP, so it's easier to try to get a Dragon Breath through and get energy advantage in the True Shield. But as you see, like I mentioned before, Altaria's best positions are in the lead and the closer. Do not use it as a safe switch. There are better and cheaper things out there that you can use. Well, actually, not really cheaper things, but you don't want to get locked into an ice type. Otherwise, that would really suck. If you haven't done so yet, please like and subscribe. Again, I hope for those of you that had questions about Altaria, this video does answer those questions. Good luck on your Go Battle League sets, and I will see you guys on the next video.
Ja!